giving a 0. So giving a 0 for a student inside of Blackboard Learn is very important, because if you don't actually give a student a 0, then the system doesn't calculate quite correctly. So when we take a look inside of the Grade Center, let's pick on demo user here. We can see that they have a total of 10 points. They accumulated 7 here and a little bit somewhere else down the line, 3 points down the line. But right here, under these other columns, there's nothing, just these dashed lines. If we look at these students, we can see there's a lot of dashed lines. Some students have grades. But if we just leave them alone, if we leave them dashed like this, we would assume that the system would go in and give them 0 points, but that's not what happens. It ignores both the maximum possible points and essentially says, well, the student hasn't taken it, so I'm not going to calculate in the maximum possible points or the student's lack of a score. So let's say that my course right here is worth maybe 300 points. And the student, I've only graded 2 of them, and the student takes a look at their score. So let's see what happens. So let's go ahead and become a student, and let's see what it looks like to them real fast. So when we come in here under Student View, and we're going to take a look at my grades. Here we go. So I can see that I currently have 10 points out of 17. 10 out of 17. I'm doing great. But in reality, I only have 10 points out of 300. But since I've only graded 2 assignments for a total of 10 points out of the 17 possible for those 2 assignments, it looks to me like I'm doing well, as opposed to the 0.03% or something that I should have. Pretty dismal. So what you need to do in order to have that accurately reflect is you need to grade the zeros. And in order to do that, you have to go into Full Grade Center here. And let's come through and let's give some zeros on this here. So to do that, you go ahead and you find the student, you click on the column itself that you want to enter information on. Let's pick a good one here. Okay, how about a small test? The student gets a 0 on that. How about a class discussion? We're going to give a 0 on that. And how about my example column here? We'll get a 0 on that as well. And let's see what happens to the student's grade now. Now we've gone through and we've given several zeros. Let's see what happened to the demo student's grade. So here again on total points it looks like 10, but now let's go back and be that student and let's see what that really does to my percentage. So let's take a look. So we're going to go back in. Now as a student, now that we have those zeros in there, we're going to take a look, and it's going to show, look, I have 10 out of 57. And that's going to drop my percentage drastically. So you can't just leave those columns as blanks. You have to go in and enter a 0. Otherwise the system won't automatically calculate it for you. So your percentage or your total points is going to be off because the system's just not calculating it. So if you want the student to have a 0 for that specific assignment, you do need to go into the Grade Center, find that column in that student, find those dashed lines, and go in there and actually enter a 0 on that column, and then hit return. And that's what's going to give that 0 and actually calculate correctly. I hope this helps.